So you would be in charge of all of the construction projects?
My area of responsibility is construction, renovations, grounds, transportation, security, safety, and the IT group, as well as housekeeping, floor care, and maintenance. Basically, the position covers everything but healthcare and food service. The Mylin House was built by Mylin III in 1887, sorry. And Mylin III is the grandson of Martin Mylin, who is one of the originators credited with creating the Pennsylvania long rifle. It passed through the Mylin family until early in the 20th century, when it moved into the Her family. And we actually met with 16 descendants of the Her family this past Monday, and they actually toured the house. We're quite thrilled with the results.
Oh, I believe it. So which part of the house was built in 1887?
The stone portion was built in 1787. The portion we're standing in is colonial. The portion we're standing in is Victorian. The original part was colonial.
Okay. So when did Willow Valley Community Center acquire the Mylin House property?
Willow Valley acquired it about 12 years ago. As part of the acquisition of the farm, they acquired, we continue to use the barn and the tobacco shed. The tobacco shed was actually relocated, and the land around was developed for our cultural center, for Willow Gables, for Spring Run, and our personal care facility in Meadow Ridge. The house actually would remain dormant with the exception of a couple special activities throughout that time. So we really only started in the renovations in the fall of 2012.
So how did you go about the process of picking a contractor or getting ideas? Did Willow Valley already have ideas of what they wanted to do on the inside?
We really didn't have an idea of what we wanted to do inside. And we had had several consultants look at the house, make recommendations. Some of them would have involved multiple contractors, and we would have ended up being the general. Actually got a recommendation. I didn't know anything about historic restorations. I got a recommendation from a colleague, and we ended up having them do the structural. The center of the building was sagging because of some issues with the stairway. We ended up having them do the work. We were pretty impressed with what they did. And then they gave a proposal for us to renovate the first floor.
Okay. And so who did the research and the choices of colors and treatments for the renovations?
Basically, that was all done by historic restorations. As they stripped the paint, they saved the last color, and there are some issues that people would look at and say, "Is this really the color?" But I think they were fairly faithful in what they did. I think the one exception was in the hallway. The original color supposedly was pink. We decided that was a little over the top, so we went with sort of a cream type color in the halls. We've had several people in we've had some people who said, "Well, these colors are over the top," and some other people have come in and had maybe a historic bent, and they said, "Oh yes, this is correct. This is what it would have looked like in the 1700s." To the point where we had one of our board members said that, "Oh yes, this is correct," and he said, "And I'll bet there are arches in the basement." Yes, there are arches in the basement, and he said, "I'll bet there is a smokehouse in the attic," and sure enough, there's a smokehouse in the attic. So with that, he said that without ever having been in the house.
So what does Willow Valley plan to do with this inside the building?
In the past, we used the building, the kitchen space, which we're in right now, as a farm market on Friday afternoons, and we did like an ice cream parlor over the summer. We would continue, I think, to do some special events like that. We may do special dinners. It's sort of evolving right now. We don't have specific plans. We're looking at being an interpretive center, and we've visited some other facilities to find out, what would you do? It's not going to be a museum. It's going to be a bit of a hybrid facility. Again, used for special events, but hopefully Willow Valley has 50 clubs, and maybe create another club that works on filling in the blanks in the history of the building. We have several residents that are docents for other retirement, or not other retirement, other historic structures who have already expressed an interest in being involved. So we would hope to get residents involved in the activities as well as the interpretive center aspect.
And how was working with historic restorations? What was your experience working with historic restorations on a project like this?
I've worked with contractors probably my whole career, and it was among the best, if not the best, experience I've had. They were very effective in what they did. They made recommendations. Of course, in a renovation like this, you're not quite sure what you're going to face. And as they uncovered things, they would say, give me a proposal, suggest that maybe we do this, maybe we do that. Some things we did, some things we didn't. We did some planning. We had not done anything on the second floor, but we did some planning and actually put some things in place so that should we do the second floor, we're ready to go. But no, it was a very good experience. What would you
call some of the strengths of historic restorations?
Well, clearly the major strength is their knowledge of the history of structures and what to do and what not to do. I already have a copy of the book that they wrote and attended their seminar, and that was sort of after the fact. But it's interesting that, and their knowledge, their craftsmanship of the folks that work for them, and just the knowledge of how things were done and being able to duplicate that.
If you had to pick a favorite part of the renovation, whether it be a particular color, the cabinetry, what would you pick out as one of your favorite things that we restored or renovated?
I think not only for me, but for many people, the front room